South Florida, this is Headliners, only on CBS News Miami.
Hi there and welcome to Headliners. I'm Lauren Pastrana. Only on CBS News Miami, South Florida law enforcement officials putting mental health on center stage. Our cameras were there last week as they led a special class that helps police officers nationwide in dealing with mental health. CBS News Miami's Peter Dench joins us from South Florida PBA headquarters in Doral with the latest.
Addressing mental health has become an important issue. Once a month, officers from around Miami-Dade County and the rest of the country gather here for a week-long class. 24 officers from Miami-Dade and around the country are here for a special class at South Florida PBA headquarters.
It's so important because the main thing that we say is to police well, you have to be well yourself.
When he was president of the Miami-Dade Association of Chiefs of Police, South Miami Police Chief Renee Landa launched this program 2 years ago. It is called Struggle Well. In partnership with Boulder Crest, it helps officers with mental health issues.
If you work in this field, you know that officers don't release, they don't talk, they keep everything inside. And each and every single one of us in this lifetime will always struggle. Everybody struggles in this life, it doesn't matter who you are. On top of that, an officer puts on a uniform, pins on that badge, and he goes out, and he has to not only take care of the struggles in his personal life, but then he takes on the struggles of what maybe somebody else is going through. A murder, a homicide, a death, whatever it could be. Domestic violence, anything like that.
Many officers are still perplexed and troubled after Miami-Dade Police Director Freddie Ramirez reportedly tried to take his own life by shooting himself in the head.
We identified this a long time. Right before COVID, we noticed that the #1 threat to law enforcement was ourselves. Self-inflicted gunshot wounds to ourselves and stuff like that.
Among those taking this class, Krista Dimmick, a patrol sergeant from Littleton, Colorado, who also offers peer support for fellow officers.
Everybody goes through struggle, right? Every single person, whether you're an officer or just a person on the street, you go through struggles, right? And for us and for peer support, it's making sure that we send our officers home as good as they came in so that they can continue to do their job, but also live the best lives that they have.
Chief Renee Landa tells us this program is available for free to 37 departments around Miami-Dade County. He says the program has become so popular that it has been expanded to 18 other states. In Doral, Peter Dench, CBS News, Miami.
A nationwide shortage of 911 operators could mean the difference between life and death. A Hialeah councilman is calling for an investigation into emergency calls in the city. He says many calls went unanswered. We got our hands on some hard numbers after a city council meeting, and they show how bad the problem might be. CBS News Miami's Gabriela Arzola takes us through the data.
Well, right now, I don't believe that the 911 center currently is working in an effective manner.
After 6 weeks of pressing the city, Councilman Brian Calvo says he found the documentation he was looking for.
This is 1,840 abandoned calls in just 1 month.
In just 1 month.
He showed us paperwork that he says was sent by the city, highlighting insufficiencies in the 911 department. And while Calvo goes through the documents with me, he points to an employee list of 911 operators that he says haven't gone through the proper training to even be an operator.
We have a supervisor in that department who has not even taken the 911 operator exam.
Also in these pages was an email written by a former 911 employee stating that the quote morale has plummeted, citing that they are mandated to work overtime in every shift, saying dispatchers quote have to wear headsets on their bathroom breaks to avoid missing calls, skipping lunches, and not taking breaks.
These are troubling remarks from any employee of the city, but more importantly, a 911 employee.
For months, we have covered the issues at the Hialeah 911 Center. In the last city meeting, council members pushed back on the notion that any calls were missed at all. As Calvo presented this shocking new information in Tuesday's meeting, 3 council members and the mayor got up and left for a portion of his speech. And when Calvo was done, no one responded, and they moved on to a different agenda item. Now, the fix isn't so simple. Calvo says if the board isn't willing to take action, he will find other legal avenues.
But what I want them to know is that I'm going to keep fighting. I'm going to keep trying to get to the bottom of this whole mess, and more importantly, trying to get the solutions passed.
I'm Gabriela Arzola, CBS News, Miami.
Police are working to piece together how dozens of vehicles ended up at the bottom of a murky lake in Doral. Investigators believe the cars have been there for decades and could be tied to multiple crimes. CBS News Miami's Jacqueline Quinn is in Doral with what we've learned.
So far, 4 cars have been pulled out of this lake named Airport Lake, but it's believed that there are dozens more. You can see how big this lake is. It spans several blocks, and really there's rather low visibility in the water itself. Now, this investigation all started with divers working on a private investigation to find a missing person. They contacted police about all these cars that now lie at the bottom of this lake located near 13th Terrace and Northwest 90th Avenue. Some of these cars may have been here for over 20 years, long before even some of the warehouses and developments around here. Miami-Dade police confirmed at least 1 car pulled out yesterday was stolen and are looking to see what crimes may be tied to these cars. We spoke to a former FBI special agent about tracking the history of these cars.
And when all of these cars went missing, those VIN numbers would be entered into NCIC. That's the National Crime Information Center, which happens to be maintained by the FBI. And so law enforcement will now go back and run those VIN numbers. And it will be very interesting to see how many unsolved crimes will now be able to be closed out.
It's only been 1 day of recovery so far, but Miami-Dade police say that they are working to pull every single one of these cars out. In Doral, I'm Jacqueline Quinn, CBS News, Miami.
When we come back, see how the summer heat is affecting South Florida seas and what this may mean for the future of our aquatic wildlife.
From South Florida, this is Headliners, only on CBS News Miami.
Welcome back. I'm Lauren Pastrana. Now to a story you'll only see on CBS News Miami. People in a South Florida neighborhood extremely upset after being told they may have to pay thousands of dollars by next month to their homeowners association. As the clock ticks closer to payday, some are stuck between choosing a lengthy payment plan, trying to get a loan, or packing their bags. CBS News Miami's Joe Gorcho sat down with residents who expressed their fear about their housing future.
The people living at Carriage Hills tell me they're frustrated, confused, and concerned about their immediate future. Some tell me they plan to sell their homes following a hefty special assessment imposed by the association.
Because all my savings.
Denora Payne takes us to her home of nearly 2 years in Carriage Hills. She's one of more than 10 unit owners from different buildings who greeted me within the gated community.
Me and my husband here for 30 years. This place was kept like diamonds.
Pat Kapua and her neighbors say that's no longer the case.
For the past 15 years, 16 years, it was going down every year. They don't fix it right away.
Outside the apartment, Denora points to suspected damage on the stairwell. Here's a closer look from underneath. In his statement, the Condo Association's board president, John Wise, told CBS News Miami the board had inspections performed, the scope of the repairs assessed, and ultimately the necessity of a special assessment was decided on to fund the repairs. All of that happened over the last 2 years. Photos shared reveal damage along walkways and stairwells. The homeowners notified they would need to pay for roof problems, 40-year repairs, a cooling tower, and repairs to the elevators. The cost revealed at a meeting 2 weeks ago, $19,000 for some residents and as much as $28,000 for others.
Why? It's like spend, and we pay.
The payments are due by the beginning of next month, or residents tell us they must agree to a 12-month payment plan.
Are you going to have to sell your home?
I don't know yet. I've been talking to different people to see if I can get a loan.
My mom, who was diagnosed with cancer.
So you are selling?
I'm selling.
Morella Cedru and others were hopeful for a lower cost or a better payment plan.
Social Security check had to pay everything. I have to move out and to rent the apartment for a year.
We're senior citizens and we cannot afford to pay that much money to get this repaired.
Wise emailed the Hollywood Mayor and County Commission offices on July 25th. He explained the situation, requesting help. We levied over $4 million for only 172 Carriage Hills residents, and more will be coming. Many of our Carriage Hills residents are seniors on a fixed budget, and this could put them out of their homes.
Certified Florida licensed engineer identifies a structural deficit. Then the city, supervises and puts the building on a clock to require those repairs. We really want to help if we can.
Hollywood Mayor Josh Levy has been exploring options to see how the city or county could provide financial assistance similar to what's done in Miami-Dade.
We're going to explore the use of those state funds and perhaps opportunities to use locally generated funds to try to help them.
Residents are also making demands of their association. They want to see the building's inspection reports, the scope of work cost estimates, and the association's financials, which were not provided at last month's meeting.
That's what I want to see. And we charge this much for this and this much for that. That's what I want to see.
Wise told me that all official records are available to unit owners. I asked if the board considered providing the necessary documentation at last month's meeting and how the association has kept up with maintenance repairs over the years. He did not respond. At 11, find out what documents you're entitled to have under Florida state law. Reporting in Hollywood, Joe Gorcho, CBS News Miami.
Scientists have announced a grim milestone this month. The world's oceans hit the hottest average recorded temperature. CBS's Ian Lee has more on why that's so alarming and what it means.
Heat waves plaguing the planet are sweeping through our seas. Scientists from Europe recently recorded the hottest ever average ocean temperature, just shy of 70 degrees.
Personally, I'm really concerned. The heat waves that we're experiencing on land and the marine heat waves that we're seeing are happening in unusual locations where we haven't expected them.
The world's warming waters threaten to melt the ice caps, destroy coral reefs, and kill marine life. Like plankton, the tiny plants and animals create the base of the ocean's food chain. They produce around 50% of the Earth's oxygen. That's every second breath you take, but they're sensitive to heat.
People's perspective is that the ocean, it's so big, it's so vast that it can buffer, anything that humanity can throw at it. And the reality is that's not the case.
The effects are also being felt in the United States. Water temperatures off the tip of South Florida hit a record-setting 101 degrees for 2 straight days last week, threatening local coral and sea life. Scientists also warned the warming oceans could trigger more extreme weather, like strong storms, devastating droughts, and fierce floods. Ian Lee, CBS News.
When we come back, an unexpected guest visited the home of a Miami couple and created quite the scare. We'll have more when we come back.
From South Florida, this is Headliners, only on CBS News Miami.
Welcome back. I'm Lauren Pastrana. A peacock predicament for the village of Pinecrest. The feathery residents are known to scratch up homes and cars and leave messes on driveways. But CBS News Miami's Trish Christakis reports a new program is hoping to curb the neighborhood nuisance.
Pinecrest is being overrun by peacocks. The village is looking to do something about it. County Commissioner Raquel Regalado says they're calling peacock population control a pilot program to start in about a month. Well, what exactly does this entail? Vasectomies for the male peacocks.
So we did a lot of research with Fish and Wildlife to see if we could move them, if we could find a sanctuary. And in that process, we were able to find that this was a viable solution.
Some neighbors complain that peacocks are scratching up homes and cars and creating messes on their driveways, while others say this is ridiculous.
Probably one of the dumbest things, cruelest things I've ever heard of. You don't do that. Mother Nature takes care of it. You don't like the way their stuff smells? Move away.
Exotic animal veterinarian Don J. Harris says giving them vasectomies is natural and safe.
The actual procedure takes me about 3 to 5 minutes per side. It's quick, it's easy, and it's benign. The peacock doesn't know anything happened when he wakes up.
A procedure on one bird can stop 6 to 12 females from reproducing. Regalado says if the vasectomy plan works in Pinecrest, it could be implemented in other counties, including South Miami and Coral Gables.
The peacock population has now exceeded the carrying capacity of the environment. So it's not going to eliminate the population. It's just going to control the growth.
In Pinecrest, Trish Christakis, CBS News, Miami.
And finally, not what you want to see when you lift up the lid. A Hollywood couple discovered an iguana in their toilet, and they don't know how it got there, but they can't flush it from their minds. CBS News Miami's Larry Seward explains what to do if you find yourself in a similar situation.
Inside the Hollywood home surrounded by synthetic grass that owners hope iguanas avoid.
I'm pretty sure he's dead.
One squatter in the toilet
I'm pretty sure he's dead. His eyes are open and he's green.
shook Crystal Collins.
I swear to God, if he jumps down, I will die.
Almost as much as her husband.
The sounds that came out of my husband were so funny, and we searched the cameras in our house to find out if we could get a soundbite of it, because it was very manly.
Crystal's husband grew up here. She spent 26 years in South Florida, but they've never had a lizard in their house until Friday.
That was not what I expected to see.
In the guest bathroom, Crystal's husband lifted the toilet seat and found this green iguana motionless.
We both looked at each other, we're like, what are we gonna do? I mean, I joke about burning the house down, but the reality is, like, how are we getting this out? Because neither one of us do lizards.
What the Collins did next is actually the right thing to do. According to an iguana trapper, you don't want the iguana roaming your house, so it's best to close the door and trap them where they are.
It's a big bunny rabbit. It's docile.
Iguana Control removes reptiles out homes from Key West to Melbourne, Florida. Usually it's because someone leaves open doors or windows. Sometimes they climb through rooftop pipes, which you can prevent by installing mesh wire covers. Once a month, they find iguanas getting in through sewers.
That's difficult to protect against. That needs to be free-flowing so that, of course, all the waste goes away. So you can't cap that or cover that or put a screen or anything like that. So that part you're exposed to.
In this case, the Collins text a friend who used a trash bag and his hand to pull out what seemed like a dead iguana.
He's not dead. He's not dead! How is he dead?
Because none felt comfortable killing it, they released the iguana outside, away from the house. But if another reptile comes back...
Now we're getting close to that epidemic area. Now, yeah.
Who's that epidemic?
Well, it's close.
The Collins might move out too. In Hollywood, Larry Seward, CBS News, Miami.
My hero indeed. That's quite a friend. Thanks for joining us this half hour on Headliners. And as always, keep it right here to CBS News Miami for up-to-the-minute breaking news and weather 24 hours a day. Make it a great one.